Hello everyone and welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothien here, and today we're going to be talking about two new legendary commanders that just popped up inside our commanders list today. I wanted to go through their pairings, I wanted to go through their skills. These skills look fantastic. Both commanders have a very specific looking role between the two of them. I want to go through what that looks like on the battlefield, but also talk about their talents, talk about how they can be used on the battlefield, who you should pair them with, all those good things. Do a little theory crafting with you and go ahead and wrap it up. I wanted to go ahead and break these things down for you so you know what to look forward to when they come to your kingdom. So let's get started. Leonidas being the first one. This is a commander that I think a lot of folks have been looking to see be brought to Rise of Kingdoms. He's one of the most well-known commanders out there. You know, you've got your Alex the Greats, you've got Julius Caesar. Commanders and figures in history like that are always well known. Leonidas is another one where if you say the word or the name Leonidas, you immediately think of the Last Stand of the 300, the Spartans, the movies that are about that historical group, and Leonidas definitely lives up to his name. Looking at these skills, he definitely is a tanky infantry commander. He's got the defense, infantry, and oddly enough, versatility talent tree. We'll look into that and see if that could play a role in his possible spec. But just looking at him from the outside in, infantry and defense, that screams to me pairing up with some super tanky infantry group to make that group really stand out on the battlefield as an extra tanky group. Let's go through these skills. They're actually really cool. First one is King of Sparta. 1,000 rage requirement, so that's your normal rage requirement. This will increase the health of troops led by Leonidas by up to 30% for 3 seconds. Deals damage to up to 3 targets in a fan-shaped area for up to 600 each target. Targets under the effect of a silence or attack reduction will also take an additional 50% damage. So again, this primary skill, this is his active skill. So when he fires it off, you're going to get a health bonus right off the bat. You're also going to get an AoE nuke, which is akin to, from a damage perspective, at the beginning at least, Sun Tzu. But then if the target is either silenced or attack reduced, there's an additional 50%. So this nuke can do up to 900 damage to a target per target, which again, to me is a little bit on the low end because again, you get 1,000 with Sun Tzu, and that affects up to 5 targets. But that's not really the main part of this skill. I think the main part of this skill is stacking it up with a 30% health bonus right off the bat. That screams to me, again, we just talked about it, tanky infantry with a little bit of nuke on it as well. And if you've seen some of my infantry army build group videos, you've noticed that I've started to do a tanky first infantry commander with a skill damage second commander to hopefully give not only the tankiness that infantry and infantry commanders provide, but also a little bit of damage to boot on the back end. And that's been working really well for me on the battlefield. So this actually has all of that paired up in one skill with Leonidas' first primary attack. The second one here, 300 Spartans. Again, everybody knows about that. It's a passive skill. When the army led by this commander contains only infantry units, which again, as you get towards the point where you're taking the Lost Temple in a kingdom and on, you should really start to be looking to have full troop one type armies. So full infantry, full cav, full archer. Very rarely should you be using a mixed troop army. So that will increase the defense bonus by 30%. That's huge. That's huge. That's double what Richard gives you. And increases the speed of rage gained by 15%, up to 15%. So huge rage regeneration bonus, massive defense bonus. I hope you can kind of see where I'm going with this on who I would like to pair Leonidas with. And I think shields are involved, if that makes sense. Well, at least the animation is a shield. So third skill is an honorable sacrifice. Passive skill again. When the army led by this commander has been reduced to less than 50% strength, there's a chance you will gain a shield when attacked. And again, this is a question that we need to ask, and I'm going to get clarified for you. What is the percentage chance that this will fire off? I'm assuming it's 10%. That's usually what most of these skills are, is a 10% chance, but Doesn't say, so I'm going to go ahead and get that clarified for everybody. The shield will be up to an 800 damage factor shield for 3 seconds, while the shield lasts increase the attack of troops by up to 15%. Again, really you're going for the shield here. Most shields last 1 turn because of the damage that's out there right now, so really it's just a 800 damage shield, or damage factor shield, I should say. 4th skill and final skill before we get to the expertise, Son of the Lion. While on the map, Leonidas' attacks have a 25% chance to increase all damage dealt by his own troops by up to 10%. Lasts for 5 seconds and stacks up to 4 times. So that means an all damage dealt bonus potential of up to 40%, which is huge. That affects obviously normal attacks, counter attacks, and skill damage. Okay? So when you're looking at this commander, it starts off really tanky with a little bit of nuke, goes super tanky, and then it starts to go towards the damage again. So we need to look at what this commander can do for you in a Mastery Series guide. I'll break down fully individually each single little one, but I think just those first 4 skills really start to scream putting out a lot of damage. And if you looked at Takeda and Attila as far as their normal attack damage and all the output they had, this kind of gives you an infantry component, I think, that makes a lot of sense. Expertise, Battle of Thermopylae. When the army led by this commander has been reduced to less than 10% strength, so you're on your last breath, okay? You're struggling to breathe. You've just got a little bit left to go. Increase all damage by 400% and increasing damage reduction by 50%. Lasts for 10 seconds. This effect can trigger only once per hour after the army has left the city. Very similar to the 4th skill of Constantine, as far as once per hour after the army has left the city. Again, 10% is very low, so I wouldn't expect you generally, unless it's a 1 versus 1, which again, in the real world of combat, that generally does not happen. It's a 5 versus 1, or a 3 versus 1, or a 5 versus 5, and that kind of thing. You won't really have more than 10 seconds generally, so that actually makes a lot of sense from a length of time standpoint, but 400% damage is nice. Something to think about, though, is whenever you're at 10% strength, that means you're at 10% damage capacity, too. So if you were to pair it up with a nuking commander, like a Sun Tzu, a YSG, or maybe one of the new commanders that just came out, you would only be doing 10% of that nuke's normal damage. Normal damage, say, is 10,000. That would only be 1,000 nukes. So really, it's about, if you were at full strength, it's about a 40% damage boost, if that makes sense. I hope the math kind of lined up there for you in your head. But you get my drift. It's a little bit of a bonus. It's nice, but it's not exactly as staggering as the number 400 sounds. I think they could have maybe done a little bit of a tip of the hat to the 300 and maybe made it 300%, just because, you know, who knows? That's just me in my mind, the way my mind thinks. But let's talk about some pairings for Leonidas. I think, again, there's 2 ways you can take this commander. There's the skills in here that do lend to attack, obviously the shielding attack, and then the damage bonus here, and then finally the expertise with a little bit of a nuke at the beginning. You could pair it up with a nuking infantry commander like a Sun Tzu. You could even pair it up with the other commander I'm about to talk about as well. And a lot of these pairings that have been coming out have been really kind of custom fit to work together. They're not, they're made to work together. That's what they're there for. I really like Leonidas with Richard. Richard looks really good with Leonidas, I think. You lose a little bit of the all damage bonus benefit. There's some really neat things that I think you could pair up Leonidas with. Even like a nuking commander like YSG would work really well. 50% active skill damage bonus in addition to this 40% just bonus damage in general. That could go a really long way and make YSG hit like a truck. Same thing with Freddy. You could take advantage of this 4 skill and make a lot of sense. But I really like Richard, and the reason I say that is because of the rage regen. The defense tree and the infantry tree does have rage regen in both trees. Leonidas has the same ones that Richard does. But imagine being able to pump out those heals nonstop, and then once you have this 3rd skill here, where once you're less than 50% strength, there's a chance to gain another shield. It's kind of like having a combination of a Sun Tzu and a Charles And if you get him expertise, that's even a little bit of a Constantine as far as the bonuses after you take a certain amount of damage to your army. I mean, there's just so much going on with this commander that works really well. But this speed of rage gained is huge. Imagine a Richard with super tanky 30% extra defense bonus on top of the defense bonuses that Richard has in the first place. That's a lot of healing happening a lot on a very tanky infantry army. If you want a very tanky, open field, down to the last man, which again is what Leonidas is all about in history and then also in this game it seems, that makes a lot of sense to me. Charles is also in play here. Really any infantry commander would work with Leonidas, maybe with the exception of Yulji, but even Yulji has some attack reductions, which would work really well with the direct damage factor increase that is out there on that first skill. So any infantry army or infantry commander will work with Leonidas, but I actually prefer Richard Leonidas, and really they could go either way as far as the primary versus the secondary, because they both have the same tree, infantry and defense. If you look at the talents on a versatility commander, so City Keeper is a versatility commander. A lot of it's gathering based and watchtower based, so garrisoning, it literally has like one of everything. Even the rage regeneration, nowhere to turn up here, has to do with garrisoning. And then you've got, again, watchtower stuff, reducing attack, reducing the action point cost to attack barbarians, which is a peacekeeping skill. Buckler Shield, which is a conquering skill when attacking other cities. Same thing with Meteor Shower. Kingsguard is a garrison skill. Turn of Fate is a unique versatility skill, but really randomly granting a bonus to something isn't really something I'm really after to go all the way into that tree to get. I would stick certainly with the infantry and the defense tree on either Richard or Leonidas. In particular, I think if you've already got Richard and you already got him leveled up, make him primary, make Leonidas second. There is no skill in there that says he must be a primary or a secondary, and you will be good to go. And I'm looking to have that be a infantry army in my group on the battlefield. Now let's go to the second commander. This is the one that I am really, really excited about. Guan Yu, not only because he literally is called Lord of the Magnificent Beard, because that's a thing, and I feel like I know him already, but just the skills that I saw on this commander just made my eyes go absolutely crazy. This is a commander that I've been looking for quite some time. It is a super beefy Sun Tzu. I mean, this guy is a on steroids Sun Tzu. Let's go through the skills, and you're going to just see the amazement of all these skills going through. And again, we're going to be having some pairing discussions afterwards. And really, at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty obvious. So first skill, active skill. Again, 1,000 rage requirement. That's very important whenever we start looking at the numbers. Deals direct damage up to 3 enemies in a fan-shaped area. Again, akin to what you see with Sun Tzu. Damage factor up to 1,000, or 2,000, excuse me. And silences the target for 3 seconds. Again, remember what we said earlier with Leonidas. Whenever the target is silenced, there's an extra damage component. So the thought process is between these two active skills is Guan Yu is primary, and then Leonidas is secondary. And in this case, again, you see the damage factor is scaled up to double when Guan Yu is primary. So a 2,000 direct damage factor nuke for Guan Yu right off the bat. Again, it's over double at the beginning, but it is double what a Sun Tzu gives you at expertise. So very huge nuke. And again, the only other commander that has a skill damage active skill above 1,700 is Edward, but his rage requirement is 1,300 or 1,350. I can't remember. Either way, lot more than 1,000. So you need to understand this is a quick nuking, heavy nuking infantry commander with infantry and skill trees and conquering tree, which is also something to take into account, because I will definitely be building a piece of the conquering tree into my talent build. But huge nuke right off the bat. It's an AoE on top of it all, and definitely one of the better nukes in the game unless they nerf it. So second one is called 5 Tiger Generals. Passive skill when attacking garrisons, so this is a conquering skill, increases normal attack damage by up to 15%, which is good, especially for infantry, Normal attacks have a 10% chance to reduce a single target's attack by 30% for 3 seconds. Again, you see something very similar to that with Yulji as his active skill. This is just another one of those things that's going to help if you decide you want to use Guan Yu in a rally, which I would recommend, absolutely 100%. A lot of Alex YSG rallies are out there right now. This is basically a combination of Alex YSG and one commander. Obviously, as far as the tankiness and the nuking capability that Alex has. And then obviously YSG as well, having AoE. Guan Yu has AoE. Very good skill. Third skill, the Slang of Huajiang. I'm not sure if I said that right, but that sounds about right. Increases infantry units attack by up to 30%. Huge. Again, very akin to Alex. And march speed by up to 15%. Again, very akin to Alex. Alex has a faster march speed, but the same type of bonuses, right? And these things stack because they're passive, guys. So you want to, if you pair these two up, those things will stack up. Upon leaving battle, Guan Yu heals a portion of slightly wounded units up to 1,000. Again, like what you see on Lohar or Baybars, whenever you are done killing somebody, or if you run, preferably you've killed them. But once you're done attacking that commander, that you're attacking your enemy, you'll get another 1,000 healing factor, which is very close to Richard's heal. So probably about 3,000, 3,500 would be my guess is what your heal would be about, which is pretty significant. Again, that's about 1% of your troops, so that's pretty good. Then also the fourth skill, when the skill Saint of War, which is your primary, hits only one target, there's a 50% chance to deal additional damage of up to 1,000 damage to the target. When the skill hits 2 or more targets, there's a 50% chance to deal an additional 1,400 damage to the current target. That's insane. This is literally a nuking tank. And almost every skill here screams nuking tank, rallying nuking tank. This is exactly what Guan Yu is going to be. He's got a polearm style weapon. Just looking at him, I could just imagine him spinning that thing around and throwing off nukes. That's what I can see whenever I look into it. So again, massive nuke at the beginning at 2,000. And then with the fourth skill, which you absolutely have to max, this 50% chance to deal an additional 1,000 to 1,400 damage depending on how many targets you're going to hit with your AoE. Man, that is a lot of skill damage. That's 3,000 to 3,400 possible skill damage on one turn from one commander. That's substantial. Insane. And then to boot it all off, we got some more stuff. So, expertise is called Lone Rider. Whenever Guan Yu gains a shield, which he can do with quite a few commanders, he also increases his active skill damage by 15%. So it's a bonus skill damage. Why not? Why would we not do that? Whenever Guan Yu leaves a structure, he increases his march speed by 100% for 3 seconds. So imagine hasty departure on steroids. Hasty departure is already very, very fast. So if you don't plan on using this commander with a shielded commander, so a Charles, an Alex, a Leonidas, even... yeah, I guess that's about it. There's probably one more. But if you don't plan on using them with those commanders, that part of the expertise is null and void. And really, again, march speed is nice, but not necessary for the build to work or for the commander to be really, really effective on the battlefield. You just saw it. The expertise isn't really necessary. So if we're looking at this, right, what would we lose if we weren't expertising this? Maybe if you don't plan on ever rallying with him, you could maybe hopefully not have to get the last 4 skills into 5 Tiger Generals. But everything else is a must-have. You've got to have that attack bonus and that healing factor. You absolutely have to have that additional damage factor, which again, it says, guys, additional damage factor, which means you need to have latent power on your build. You also obviously need to max out your first skill with Guan Yu before you move on at all. Absolutely. And again, infantry skill. So again, another commander, very, very similar to that, is going to be Sun Tzu. And I also want to touch base on the conquering path real quick too, just to show you. But just looking at the infantry and skill damage bonuses on what you can provide here, this is your typical Sun Tzu build with full skill, having Rage Regen for Undying Fury. You could probably get rid of Iron Spear to save 3 points there. Hold the Line is really, really good. And then also this health and defense bonuses are also really good. But again, if nothing else and you don't want to go into the Conquering path, all you would really do is move the 3 points from Iron Spear into Latent Power, and you are done. However, I like also, if I can see if I can find a Conquering Commander, there we go. I really like Moment of Triumph, especially for those nukes if they go off really, really quick, which they should with the skill path. And then Buckler Shield, reducing counterattack damage on infantry is very, very effective. That might also make a little bit of sense, but it does take some points to get there. To get both of those, it's 10 points. So the other place where I would find 10 points is by removing Feral Nature, because these 3 bubbles here can go. But again, you're going to lose a lot of Rage Regen, which is going to reduce your damage output because you're not going to have this 10% chance to get an additional 100 Rage firing off whenever it decides to fire off. So that would be a trade-off. I think there's some testing to be done there. However, I think because you're going Feral Nature versus no Feral Nature, that can be a little bit luck-based. So again, do you want to have the solid damage without Feral Nature, but having first 10% of your army's strength be super effective with the extra 9% all damage dealt, and super tanky with the 9% counterattack damage taken reduction? Or do you want to go a little bit more Rage Regen possibility and start firing off those skills like crazy? Pairings wise with Guan Yu, first thing that came to mind obviously is Sun Tzu. Also YSG. YSG works really well with this commander. Also, again, we just talked about the expertise, which, by the way, this is the commander I'm going for. I was about to start working on Constantine and maybe even Takeda a little bit. That's all stopped. Guan Yu is my main target going forward, and because I'm in Kingdom 225, I've got a little bit of time to start saving these sculptures up. So whenever Guan Yu comes out, which again, by the way, he comes out on the Wheel of Fortune, guys. Guan Yu comes out on the Wheel of Fortune. So you don't have to worry about winning MGE or KVK or Osiris League or any of those things to get this awesome commander who is the Lord of the Magnificent Beard. This is going to be my next commander that I'm working on. I'm saving up sculptures as we speak. I think that, again, YSG, Sun Tzu, Alex is a great commander for this guy. Any type of offensive infantry works. Even a Yulji would work just fine here. But I think really YSG, Alex, and Sun Tzu are the primary ones to go after with this commander. I hope this guy was helpful. Again, a little bit longer than I wanted to, but there was so much to talk about with these 2 brand new commanders. These are game changers, guys, especially Guan Yu. Guan Yu redefines the infantry role on the battlefield. Usually you think infantry, you're just going out there to tank, buff, debuff, hopefully soak some damage so that your nukers can come in and do the damage. If you see a Guan Yu on the battlefield, you target this dude down quick because he will wreck everything around it. Okay? I'm going to go and wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're at. Cheers. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see y'all next time.